Well, in this week's About Your Retirement, here's a viewer question. Here we go.
Okay.
Jim, I'm very worried about my 90-year-old mother that is still insisting on staying in her home of 63 years. Lately, she's not been the same when I go and check on her, and I wonder if she's in a depressed state. How do I know for sure, and what do I do about that?
Well, this is a great question, and really we should do these reminders much more often than I do. I usually do a couple of times a year, but the whole depression thing is just major right now. And you know, some people, it's maybe because of trying to get through the pandemic, children, all age groups. So, you know, we're focusing today on our adult age generation, but one of the things to remember here is that it's okay to live alone. I mean, it's amazing to me that this woman and her husband bought a home when they were in their mid-20s or so, and she still remains there. So, you know, and unfortunately for her, her husband died from COVID earlier this year. I think a lot of people don't realize it's still, you know, impacting, and especially our older generation. But she's insists on living alone. That's okay. It's okay to live alone, but it's not okay to be lonely. And I say that regularly because loneliness is a stepping stone to depression. Depression can be a stepping stone to suicide. And we already have a high suicide rate. The 65 and up, it's well over 16% now. So it's something to really pay attention to. And so let me say too, depression, it can be treated with medications. It can be treated with counseling, with therapy. And so if you have a loved one that's living alone, keep an eye on close contact. This viewer, very surprised. So here's some tips to some red flags to look for is what I'm going to call these. The first one is if mom's withdrawn. You go by, maybe she's withdrawn from family, friends. She doesn't go to church when she used to go to church all the time. And so you want to make sure her yard's not kept, her flower bed that she loved. You know, you're going to see changes. The house is unkept. Wearing the same clothes, big red flag.
Yep.
And this particular viewer said, I went by, mom was wearing the same clothes Saturday to Saturday, and I noticed there's some personal hygiene problems. There's a big red flag. Eating changes, either eating too much or not eating enough, Tevis, and so there's a lot of weight gain or a lot of weight loss. So those are good red flags to pay attention to. And sleeping problems. If you hear mom or dad complaining about, I can't sleep, I can't go to sleep at night, or they just sleep hours on end. And so suicide hotline, 800-273-TALK. 800-273-TALK. That's 800-273-8255. But talk is an easy way to remember. And don't hesitate to call and just talk to somebody if you're alone.
Absolutely. We want everyone to make sure they're checking in on their mental health. Well, thanks for joining us again. And don't forget, of course, you can get more retirement advice on Jim's other show, Watch Baby Boomers in Action, every weekend on News 9 and News 9 Plus. And of course, for more information, visit news9.com/retirement.